to our channel NB Classes. Myself Nikitha in this video explaining all about food, nutrition and health. Please subscribe our channel and like, share the video. So now let me start up with my lesson that is on food, nutrition and health. One second. So, what exactly means food? So, food refers to anything that we eat and which nourishes the body, right? So, it includes solids, semi-solids and liquid. It should be worth eating. So, what the food should be? What is actually a food? It should be a worth eating. That is, it should be edible and it should nourish our body. So, now, as here I have explained all about is what is, see, we can define the food as nutritive substance consumed by an organism for growth, doing work, building a new body substances and also repairing certain tissues and maintaining the life processes. Now here, what you mean by a staple food? So staple food is the food items that we can eat to get energy are known as staple food. Like daily foods what we eat, like for example rice, rotis, bread, these are all called as staple food. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, now before going to our next slide, I just want to ask, have you ever wondered why food is considered as a basic necessity? What is the need? Like, why do we consider that as a first? For example, if we are having any occasions or meeting up with the friends for the first time or any birthday parties, we consider the food as one of our basic necessities. Why? So food is anything that we can eat and which nourishes our body. It is very essential because it contains substances which perform important functions in our body. That is why we say we consider a food as a basic necessity. First thing, important functions of food. First, there are three different functions. One is social function, psychological functions, physiological functions. What else we can explain under a social functions? See, food and eating have significant social meaning. Means to say what? Sharing of food with any other person implies social acceptance. Yes, now we go for colleges or even in school days, we all sit together, we share the food, right? So it's something we are developing our social well-being, like how we share the foods and we even build our communications, all this, right? And even as I mentioned all before, saying like when we are having any celebrations at our house, like it can be a birthday parties or anything, we serve a delicious food. We begin our friendship or we begin our parties or anything with a food. So here, food is also an integral part of festivity everywhere in the world. So, food also has a specific significance and meaning in the religious context. Next, psychological functions. Now, we all need security, love and affection. So what actually happens here? Food is one way through which these needs are satisfied. We all have emotional needs such as security, love and affection. So food is one of the through which we needs are satisfied. For example, your mom or your anyone beloved ones makes your favorite food. So what you feel? Like, first thing comes in your mind is, yes, your mom loves you a lot. So that emotional attachment, all this is what the food plays a very important function. Next, physiological functions. Now there are three physiological functions performed by food. These are energy giving is the first one, second bodybuilding, third regulating body processes and providing protection against the disease. Okay, so how is that helping in food provides energy? What does that do? See here, everybody needs an energy to do work, right? So while, like, even you can imagine, like, only when you're getting up and you're doing that itself does not needs an energy. Even while sleeping or resting also your body needs energy, sufficient amount of energy. Why? Because when you're sleeping, still there are different organs inside your body which is always working, right? For example, heart, what does it do? It pumps blood. Stomach, it goes under digestion of food. Lungs, it works under like breathing, okay, it helps in the breathing, all these. So for all these certain things, so all these organs needs energy, and from where they are getting it? Through food what we eat. So the food provides us that energy. So it helps in the energy giving. Next is bodybuilding. Okay, food helps in bodybuilding. Now, like, have you ever wondered like how small child grows into an adult? Yes, our body is already made of thousands of small cells, right? So new cells are added to these to help the body to grow. So food is needed for the formation of new cells. We require food to perform a formation of new cells. The next one is what is called as regulating body processes and providing the functions. Okay, now food regulates our body processes and it provides protections against the diseases. Okay, regulatory functions refers to the role of food in controlling the body processes. For example, body temperature of human beings is around 37 degrees Celsius, right? So similarly, how does the heartbeat also maintain? It is like per minute, it takes about like 72 beats per minute. Now also secretion of waste products from the body is also being regulated. So if not, the body suffers from a diseases. See, if not, what actually happens when the secretion of waste products has been not maintained regularly? What the people can suffer through? Like they can suffer through a disease like constipations, and that can lead to several other complications, right? So all these processes are regulated by the body, that what we eat. Okay, so this is all under the physiological function. So if at all a questions arise asking the importance functions of food, you can explain its social functions, physiological functions, and psychological function. Nutrition and nutrients. Okay, so there is a difference in nutrition and also nutrients. All of us eat food, right? And food provides nourishment to the body and enables us to stay healthy. The food also, so the food that we eat undergoes many processes. Like food is first digested, then it is absorbed into the blood and transported to the various parts of the body where it is utilized, and then the waste products and undigested foods are being excreted from the body. So what all is it's undergoing? One, digestion, absorption, transportation, utilization, and also excretion, right? So all these functions what a body does. Now, what is a nutrition? So that is itself is a nutrition, is a process by which food is taken to absorption to transportation to utilization and excretion. Okay, so nutrition is a process by which food is taken in and utilized by the body. That process is called as nutrition. Now what is nutrients? Are the chemical substances that is present in the body and are responsible for the nourishing the body is what is called as nutrients. Now under nutrients there are two types. One is macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay, so what are macronutrients? So these macronutrients are nothing but it is required in large quantities. Okay, and the food is present also in a large quantities. Macro means large. Nutrients means the required nutrients, the required chemical substances which is in the food. So they are present in the large quantities. Now example like carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oils are all macronutrients. So first comes is what is called as carbohydrates. So under carbohydrates, what does the functions do? They help in providing giving a large amount of energy. Carbohydrates pairs proteins for a bodybuilding functions. Yes, carbohydrates also helps in for the proteins for the bodybuilding functions. Dietary fibers increases the bulk in stool and helps in the defecation. Okay, so what all is these carbohydrates does? So there are many sources of carbohydrates like cereals, pulses, roots and tubers. All these are the source of carbohydrates like potatoes, sweet potatoes, wheat, rice, maize, etc. Now always remember 1 gram of carbohydrate give 4 kilocalories of energy. Okay. Now what exactly is proteins? Now proteins are made up of a smaller units known as amino acids. Now okay, they are made up of smaller units known as amino acids. There are different types: essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So these essential amino acids are those which our body cannot manufacture. So what happens? Our body cannot manufacture these essential amino acids. So what does this means to say? That you should take up, okay, it should be taken from the external, so into your body. That is why they are saying essential, which is needed to your body and hence have to be supplied through the diet. So whatever food you are taking, those should have these which contains essential amino acids. Why? Because they are not being produced in the body. Okay, next one is non-essential amino acids are those amino acids which a body can manufacture. So even if they are not through a diet, that's okay, not an issue, because the body, inside our body itself, it gets manufactured. So there are two types: essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Okay, now what are its functions? And so the functions are like the needed for the growth, maintenance and repair of tissues, necessary for production of enzymes, hormones, antibodies and hemoglobin. Okay, the next one is sources of proteins. Many different sources: the milk products, meat, poultry, fishes, eggs, all these are the source of proteins. Same like carbohydrates, here also 1 gram of proteins gives 4 kilocalories of energy. Okay, now before I get into the other thing, just remember one of the special features of like proteins are these animal proteins, that is proteins from the meat, eggs, milk, etc. are better than vegetable proteins, that is proteins from the pulse, cereals, etc. because vegetable sources do not contain all the essential amino acids. Okay, next one, and one more thing to be note down is when this body does not get enough carbohydrates or fat to meet its energy needs, then what happens? That time proteins are broken down to supply that calories. Okay, so like we eat, see, first thing which breaks down is the carbohydrates what we eat. So maximum you're eating carbohydrates means that time what actually happens, the proteins don't get been utilized, it start building up its functions. But when carbohydrates or fats or anything is in an insufficient amount, then what happens, a proteins plays into a role that gets broken down and it supplies a calories or it supplies your energy. Okay, now the next is fats and oils. So fats are made of small units called fatty acids, and fatty acids can may be saturated or unsaturated. Saturated fatty acids are found in solid fats, whereas oil contains more of unsaturated fatty acids. So now what does the saturated fatty acids do? They are like solid fats. Okay, So it means to say under the room temperature these saturated fatty acids they be in a solid state. Like for example, you can see some oils, okay, like what we use it in the kitchen. Most of the time, even if they are in the room temperature, or a hair oil, what does it, coconut oil, what does it happen? They get solid, right? Again you bring it under the sun, then it becomes a liquid. So those saturated fatty acids are found to be in a solid fats. Okay, so most of the oils are containing like unsaturated fatty acids, like vegetable oils are all unsaturated fatty acids. Now what are the functions and sources of fats and oils? The same. See, what is the difference between the oil and fat? So as I told you, like if a substance is in a liquid at a room temperature, it is called as oil. Okay, when any oil, like we use a kitchen oil, right? Certain oils, they are even at the room temperature, they be oil, like they be in that liquid form is called as oil. And if it is a solid at that room temperature, then it is 100% said to be fat. This is how you can differentiate in fats and oil. Now what are the functions? Also they provide energy. They reduce the use of proteins for energy. Yes, because first fats and all gets break down, right, for the required energy. So there what happens, the proteins gets built up, so it reduces the use of protein for the energy. Also it carries a fat soluble vitamins, that is ADEK. ADEK vitamins are the fat soluble vitamins into the body and help in absorption of these vitamins. Okay, so for all this the fats help. Also they maintain the body temperature, and it is a layer which is present just below the or under the skin and helps to conserve the body heat. Okay, and also help in the growth of tissues. Most of the food, that is vitamins, carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oils, they maintain the growth of the tissues. Again, the sources of fats and oils, the same: cooking oil, ghee, butter, oil seeds, nuts, meat, poultry, fish, eggs, whole milk, cheese. Here 1 gram of fat gives 9 kilocalories of energy. Okay, so let me revise. The carbohydrates 1 gram give 4 kilocalories. Proteins also is a similar way. 1 gram of proteins gives 4 kilocalories of energy, but the fat is 1 gram of fat gives 9 kilocalories of energy. Okay. Next, micronutrients. So we finished with the macronutrients. So macronutrients is carbohydrates, fats, proteins and oils, right? So now comes micronutrients. So micronutrients are also other important nutrients which are present in a small quantities, but these are also essential for our body. So they are called as micronutrients. So under micronutrients it is water, like minerals, vitamins and also water. Okay, so vitamins is what minerals and vitamins are micronutrients. So vitamins, now these vitamins are of two types. Okay, one is fat soluble, water soluble. So fat soluble includes A, D, E and K, and water soluble includes B and C. Okay, so these you can just zoom it. These you can see like under these are fat soluble vitamins. So here, yeah, so vitamins A, D, E, K, these are nutrients of fat soluble. What does A do? It is essential for a proper functioning of eyes, that is vision of dim light. So what are its sources of vitamin A sources? Again, liver, egg, fish liver oil, milk, green leafy vegetables. So all this necessary for the healthy skin. So what are its functions? First, it helpful in the vision. Second one is that it maintains that healthy skin and lining of the nose, mouth, throat, ears, lungs and other functions. So yellow, orange fruits. So all these which are helpful for your skin are the orange fruits, that vegetables such as pumpkin, carrot, papaya, all. Okay, so this all comes under the vitamin A. So the two functions, functioning of the eyes, that is a vision in the dim light, also, and keeps your health, skin and every skin healthy. Vitamin D, necessary for the formation and the maintenance of strong healthy teeth and bones. So first thing. Second, proper absorption and utilization of calcium and phosphorus in the body. Yes, sometimes you take up the food which is required, right? Like calcium, which contains calcium and phosphorus. So that time, even you might, so this I'll explain it further. Even when sometimes what happens is you take up the food which is containing calcium and phosphorus, even then the body, if it does not have a sufficient amount of utilization and absorption, what happens? Even you're taking, it is not getting absorbed, so no use of it. So for that cases, you must take vitamin D. So because it helps in the absorption and utilization of calcium and phosphorus in the body. So here, exposure of a skin to sunlight. First, how does you, they say, right, vitamin D, the early sunrise, which is very helpful, with it gives you vitamin D. Next, the other things are like milk, fish liver oil, refined oil, ghee. All these are the sources of vitamin D. Vitamin E prevents the destruction of certain substances in the presence of oxygen. So all the cereals, pulses, see, oxygen isn't free radical which can form once it enters into your body. So all this vitamin E and vitamin K, everything has been helpful. Whereas vitamin K, it helps in necessary for the clotting of blood. So you can take off green leaf vegetables. All these are the sources of vitamin E. Also the same way, vitamin B, water soluble vitamins are like vitamin B and vitamin C. So these are necessary for the utilization of carbohydrates in the bodies, necessary for the normal functioning of nerve system. So vitamin B is helpful in first utilization of carbohydrates, second in the normal functioning of the nervous system, essential for the proper growth, also helps the body organs to function normally, and needed for the formation of RBCs, helps in the digestion and improves the appetite. So all are these functions of vitamin B. Again, the sources are liver, meat, fish, egg, cereals, green leafy vegetables, milk, etc. Now, vitamin C also, it's necessary for the formation of the substances that hold cells together, then needed for the strong teeth and bones, help in the production of hemoglobin, help in the utilization and other nutrients in the body, also fight against the germs causing diseases. Like all the citrus fruits like amla, orange, lemon, guava, green leafy vegetables, etc. So we in this corona situations, what people say to take more of vitamin C products, right? Sources. Why? Citrus fruits must be eaten more. Why? Because all this, they help to fight against the germs which are causing diseases. Okay, next one is minerals. It's a very important another part of the micronutrients. So under minerals, there are three different important minerals. So these are also very small amount of total body tissues required. Important minerals are like calcium, iron and iodine. Now, what can I say about the calcium? See, calcium and phosphorus are available in sufficient quantities through milk, curd, vegetables, oil seeds, etc. Right? So why is this calcium very much necessary? Because it is necessary for the bone formation, blood clotting and muscular contraction. So this is the osteoporosis is the next what I have been told. See, this osteoporosis is why it's caused due to the deficiency in the calcium. So most of the people, women suffer through this osteoporosis, because when they grow older, what happens? There is a calcium deficiency, right? So most of the women, they suffer from this, and the bones become, actually in this osteoporosis, what actually happens is the bone becomes brittle and people become prone to frequent fractures. Okay, so major function of this calcium is the formation and development of bones and teeth. So calcium is required in, why do we need calcium? Because it is required in the blood clotting and the muscular contraction. So the sources like that you must take up with ragi, oil like curd, milk, so that we can have a better calcium in our food products and to avoid this osteoporosis. Next one is iron. Iron is required in very small quantity by the body. Okay, it is also an important material present in the hemoglobin, and also it is a part of RBCs, and it is iron is only which is responsible for the red color of the blood. Here also the same, we can take up pulses and cereals, yes, but the deficiency of iron leads to anemia. Okay, so now here absorption and utilization of iron is very poor. Okay, sometimes what happens, it's not like we don't take up the food which is containing iron. Okay, we do take, but its absorption and utilization of iron becomes very poor because of the presence of certain naturally occurring constituents in food cells, like in food, okay, which is called as oxalates and phytates. Before I get into these oxalates and phytates, these are the inhibitors of iron. Whereas vitamin C and proteins, okay, they help in the better absorption of iron, and these are known as enhancers of iron. So oxalates and phytates, they are sometimes present naturally. What they do, they do not allow the iron to be grown or to be utilized or to be absorbed. So because these are inhibitors of iron. So we also take an alternate like vitamin C and proteins. What do? They help in better absorption of iron, which are known as enhancers of iron. Okay, next one is iodine. This is necessary for the growth function. Okay, growth formation. Iodine is also very important. It is present in the thyroxine hormone, which is produced from the thyroid gland. Okay, so like seafoods are also very rich in iodine, and the deficiency of iodine leads to goiter. So what exactly is goiter? Goiter is nothing but that is the enlargement of the neck, which you can see. So most probably just people take off iodine. So it's better, the better source is iodinized salts. You can take as a source, or you can even take up like the seafoods which are very rich in iodine. Okay, water. Now water is a vital for survival, and which is a major constituent of our body. Water helps in digestion, absorption and transportation of nutrients in the body. It also helps to secrete unwanted materials in the form of urine and maintains the body temperature to the perspiration. So you see sometimes what happens, you get that urinary kind of infections or many other infections if you are not taking a proper amount of water. Why? Because your body is getting dehydrated. So when the body is getting dehydrated, there is no sufficient maintenance of your body temperature. So water is one very important liquid which must be taken, at least minimum of 6 to 8 glasses per day of water is required. So because it is for the survival, and it maintains in many other functions like digestion, absorption, transportation of nutrients. For all this we require water. Okay, so good nutrition is a prerequisite for good health. So thank you for your attention.